What's going on, folks? Today is time for us to have a really good talk. Um, you know, I'm writing a new book, and in my latest book, I explore the aspects of Robin Hood. Right now, I know you may wonder why is this guy so fascinated with all of these classic tales and stuff, and I am because a lot of these tales, you know, can give you some food for thought. I mean, when you really think about, the message that we see embedded in these tales, there are things that you can use in your everyday lives. So it's important, when we think about what happened in the Robin Hood story, right? Sherwood Forest and, the band of merry men and so forth. And what they would do is they would steal from the rich and give to the poor. Right, very noble thing. In some cases, they were stealing back what was taken from the poor, through means of taxation and pirating and so forth. So Robin Hood was noble in that aspect, where he saw that the people who had an abundance of things were so greedy that they felt like taking from people who didn't have anything. Now, when we talk about your workplaces and the narcissists in your work environments and these toxic work environments, we're talking about exactly those type of people. Similar to how Robin Hood, fancy things, except it's in reverse, because you have people who are well-to-do, these bosses and, mid-managers and people who control these purse strings at these jobs, who make an abundance of money, get more and more every year. What they do is they steal from the common worker, the person who's coming to make a bread and butter paycheck, put in a good 8, 12 hours or whatever they're putting in every day, putting in hard work, a lot of times don't even get recognized for their efforts. And every time there's some type of budgetary thing where there's cutbacks, they're always the first people affected. But they're the ones who are really making the company go. See, a narcissist is not going to do anything unless it's going to benefit them. Doesn't matter if it's your company, because the company is seeded with narcissists. So this whole mindset is something that people from the board on down probably, harbor, right? A lot of these people think like this because they're greedy, they're corrupt. A lot of our politicians have these types of mindsets. Notice how there's a theme here. A lot of people in power, just like the king in that Robin Hood tale. These people are greedy, selfish nature. They have really low tendencies and character, right? And when they're narcissists, they most certainly will steal from the poor to give to the rich. So in this case, because we're talking about people who are hardworking, who work for their money, and they're not asking for handouts because they're coming to work every day, and you're cheating these people. You may have a situation where, maybe somewhere at your company, some board members or something may get together and they may realize that they're not paying the staff appropriately. And so what they'll do for these different various departments, they may allot a special amount of money, extra funding to cover expenses for people on the job. Let me move because I think got some folks coming down here on the trail. And what they'll do in these situations, this money, this allotted money, is to cover bases, to appease the typical basic functioning worker, satisfy them, right? Put a little bit extra money in their pockets, so they can do better in life. And then the end result is, most people are happier and they're able to, manage their affairs better, right? That's the goal. That was the goal. But see, the thing is that when there's neglect involved and there are people who are mismanagers, what they will do is, just for the write-off on taxes on a piece of paper, they'll give this money up to these different departments because they know that there's a department head who's in charge of taking in this money and making sure it goes to the proper staffing and, staffers, and that's what that person's function would be, because that's what the head of a department would do. But when you're talking about narcissists and people who have low grade and low functioning characters, they're going to steal. Right? Corruption is always going to be at their front door, and they're going to always answer the call, so to speak. So they allot this certain amount of money. You know, it could be a great deal of money, right? And they'll give it to these mid-level managers to take care of, because they really don't care, because in the end of the day, they're going to write it off on taxes, and so it's going to look good on paper. Yeah, we gave raises to our employees or something, our little nickel and dime employees that are putting in all this hard work, working to make us, you know, enrich our lives. And we're thankful for this. And they're going to put all of this stuff out, and they're going to, you know, write it down in some mission statement somewhere about how they're devoted to employees and all this BS. You know, companies are full of shit these days. And so what's going to happen is that mid-level manager, because they're narcissists and they have a lot of cronies and a lot of flying monkeys and people that they want to reward little trinkets and perks to, what they will do is they will steal the hard-working money, the money of the hard-working employees who put in that time and work hard and toil on this job just so this company can thrive, right? Meet the productive levels and so forth. All of these things got met because someone had to get up in the morning, have a few cups of coffee, and knock it out. While that boss slept, came in when they felt like, didn't do shit, fucked around in the meeting, talked, laughed, you know. And all the things I always talk about these bullshitters do in these meetings, they pass bucks. They are buck passers. They're quarterback bosses. So this quarterback boss or bosses, because they have cronies and everybody, me too, and I want to be someone, and you know, they make up these jobs and hire their little cronies and, you know, put them on. Sometimes they'll have someone in the office coloring in the coloring book or something, making excessive amounts of money while you're toiling in the factory somewhere, and they're barely paying you anything. The corporate people the board people don't even know this shit is happening. They could care less, right? Because they think themselves higher than you anyway, just because they put on dress slacks to come to work or something. So they think themselves higher than you, not realizing that your work and blood and sweat is how this company thrives. Not them. They can be replaced. They're just faces, right? But their egos allow them to believe that they're greater than who they are, and so they don't care. And so these mid-level managers with their flying monkey minions will steal the money. Totally. And so let's say, for instance, you know, an appropriate amount to give an employee every year be like 4 or 5% or something, right? To make sure these people are meeting the cost of living and certain sort of things, and that you're rewarding them for their hard work and dedication. You're going to pay them something like that. But what this person will do is they'll sit back, because they don't do much work anyway, but they'll do work for this, and they'll figure out how to enrich themselves on that budget and all of their minions and demon cohorts at the employee's expense. I know, sounds really, really unfair and harsh, right? The king was like that, right? In the Robin Hood stories, right? You never cheered for the king, did you? The king was a piece of shit. I know. Bear with me. But these are your bosses at work. These are your people who control the purse strings, and they're greedy. You see it in Congress. You see it in a bunch of ways in your lives about how these people in power, that's the theme again, steal unnecessarily. Even when they have an abundance of things, they still want more, right? Can't get blood from a turnip, but they'll get it from a turnip. And that's the problem. You know, I got people on this trail, so let me back up a little bit. But, you know, that's the problem. You know, and they're not thinking about anyone else but themselves and enriching their own lives, right? And there's a cost for that one day. They haven't figured out yet, but there's a cost for that. There's a punishment. Something's coming in the line, karma and shit. But we're not going to get into all that. We're just going to talk about the technicals of what is in these workplaces, in these toxic work environments, specifically in the boardrooms and the higher up spaces where they steal money from people who work hard for it. So instead of you getting that 5%, they'll wind up giving you 1% or 2%. It'll turn into mere pennies in your pay, right? Maybe you're getting an extra nickel, you know, on your paycheck or something. Meanwhile, this person got an extra $10,000, $20,000, and so forth. You get what I'm saying? All of the cohorts got your money. None of them work as hard as you. right? None of them are worth anything. None of them have the value you have as a person, anything. They're all low-life scumbuckets. But they all have their hands stuck out. Me, 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 me. Just like little birds in the nest with their mouth open, waiting for a worm to be dropped in by the mother or something. They're just waiting for your paychecks to go into their hands. And that's what happens. So they get your 5% becomes something much less because a lot of them get your money. And they get their little 5% and their 6% and their 8% and whatever they're getting off your backs. They're able to buy that new house or that new car that they're showing off to you while they're stealing from you. See? And it's really nothing you can do about it, because as long as you don't have power on a board in the place and you're just working there, just work your job. You're not going to be able to affect these things. But what I wanted to do today, folks, was I wanted to get you to pay attention to the scumbags that you see every day at your jobs. Don't look up to those people in the boardroom or those higher ups that walk around with their chin stuck up and they're better, because they're not. They're shit bags. Right? They're the scum of the fucking earth. There is no value in these people. So I wanted to talk about that really quickly, and I just wanted to get you guys to think about something. If you can start your own business one day and you can do that, maybe you'll be able to reward your workers properly and not steal from them. And that will make you an A1 person. I love bad behavior, folks, but I also love good people. I love people who don't pilfer and steal from people who are deserving, simply because they're selfish and low-natured and greedy. You greedy fucks. Choke on the chicken bone, motherfuckers. Y'all like the videos, share the videos, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And we'll be talking later. Just don't look up to these scumbags. Take care.